Okay, I'm just gonna wait a second to see if we have anyone else joining in at this point. Okay, let me check one. Okay. All right. I'm ready to get started. I think a few more people are joining at this point, but let's get going. We do actually end up making recordings of these. So if anyone misses any of it, or all of our old master classes and webinars are also on YouTube, which we'll give you all the information for at the end. The other thing I want to mention right now is in the chat, there are some handouts. So there's a ads blueprint, which you may want to go actually do now and go along with it because it kind of follows along with what we're talking about today. Then we're also talking about the difference between boosting ads and running boosting posts, I'm sorry, and running Facebook ads. So there's a whole handout on that. Then there's a handout on how to generate some content with AI that we used in another masterclass, which everyone has found very valuable. So I've been adding that as well. Okay, so let's get going with this. This is a masterclass on unlocking Facebook ads for remodelers. So my company, Remodelers Marketing Crew, really mainly works with just remodeling companies. So renovation companies, home service companies, outdoor living companies, any type of remodelers is what we work with. So what are we going to cover today? So I'm not going to tell you like every single button that you would push in an ads manager. Literally, I probably would take you 20 or 30 hours of a course minimum to take that kind of a course. And I've taken those courses, and there's some in Udemy. They're not very expensive. If they're actually looking for some that I'd recommend, just shoot me an email and I'll send you the links to them. But what I'm looking at is the big picture, the big strategy. How do they work? How do we set them up the right way? And how do we track the results? Because I'm assuming most of you here that are listening to this are business owners yourselves, as I am. And so I'm not going to be doing the nitty-gritties of running the Facebook ads for my company, even though I'm a marketing company. That's not my expertise. But I need to know enough to know if they're doing right, if they're being done right, and to know if they're keeping up with how things are changing and how to track results. And so that's really where I'm trying to get you guys right now. Where are you so that you can follow and oversee what somebody else is doing? And then if you want to get also into the nitty-gritty of how to do it, it's simple enough by going to a simple class to do that. So what are we looking for? Understanding Facebook ad campaigns, like a pro, basically, and understanding the campaign manager. Really key, how to maximize your return on your investment. How to create Facebook ads that attract high quality remodeling leads. Because that's, again, I talk to remodelers every single day, multiple times a day. And one of their biggest complaints always is, we have the quality leads. We're getting some leads, but not the quality. So I'm going to talk about that. Exact audience to target. What's working right now in 2025 and into 2026. What type of ad creative should you be using? Photos, videos, captions, and what the homeowners, how are they responding? Which metrics actually matter, right? So we want to know what should we measure, right? And then use simple automations. Automations are key to making Facebook leads and ads work. Really important, not just for Facebook, but we're going to specifically talk about automations for Facebook. We've talked about automations in other places as well, and we may do another webinar, a masterclass just on automations because it's so important. And then the latest tricks and tips, do's and don'ts, and we'll have some time at the end for a Q&A. So kind of a little housekeeping. As I was calculating today, I probably spent on average like 7 hours a week on going to webinars, going to seminars, having coaching, and all to know how to run my business better, how to run all the different parts of the business, how to get better results with SEO, Facebook ads, Google ads. So I'm always going and learning. And what I found is, if I'm not totally zoned in on it, if I'm trying to do something else, or I'll just like, oh, I'll write this email, or I'll shop for that while I'm doing it. I'm not gonna get anything out of it. And it's really kind of a waste of my time. So I really hope that you put aside everything else and really just give us your focus for the next 45, 60 minutes. And I promise you'll get value from that. So to start out with that is, why should you spend the next 45 to 60 minutes listening to me and hearing what I have to say? And also, this is not just listening to me. Please participate as well. I'll try to keep my eye on the chat as well to see if questions come in. But yes, this can be asking questions at any point. You don't have to wait till the end. So why me? I've been 10 years of experience specifically in the remodeling industry. We've worked with, I'm sure it's way over 50 businesses now that we've increased their revenue. We've grown them. You could go to our website, please. Look at some of the testimonials from the people that we've worked with. I'm the author of Stop Wasting Your Money, the Remodelers No BS Guide to Digital Marketing That Actually Works. It should be soon. I've been meeting with my editor every single day in the last week or two. We're really close. So get on our mailing list, and we'll get you one of those books. I've spoken at many industry events. I'm widely accepted as a premier expert in internet marketing for the remodeling industry. We work with remodeling companies all over the US. Kind of different than most, probably, digital marketing agency owners, is that I do have a doctorate in business administration. I've taught finance, marketing, and entrepreneurship, and that's kind of where this business came from. When I worked as the director for the Center of Entrepreneurship at my university, we worked with the Small Business Administration and groups of students to try to help their businesses grow. Almost always they needed digital marketing, but then this was a semester project, so it would end, and they'd come to me. And long story short, a business was grown out of that. And then when we were dealing with all small businesses, we kind of said, how can we do the best job here for our clients? And we looked at who we worked with. What were the best results we got? And it was in the remodeling home improvement area. And so that's why we changed and moved into Remodelers Marketing Crew. And more important, I guess, for this talk is that I've been using social media and Facebook ads in the remodeling industry for more than 10 years. So I have a lot of experience here. So these are some of the companies that we work with. There's many, many more than that, but just give you an idea. So Colorado, New Mexico, that's in just a little northwest of Boston. Taylor Teach Out is Michigan, Tennessee, Idaho, Boston, California, South Shore of Boston, and Connecticut. So those are just a few. So we're all over and working with all of these companies and more. And another key thing is that we have a large team. We have a team, I think we're at 21 right now, might be a little bit bigger. And everybody specializes. So when I first started, we were small, there were just a few of us. I had to do everything, literally make websites, do the content, do the SEO work, learn how to do Facebook ads and Google ads. That's when we started. And a lot of companies start that way. But as I've grown, what I've learned is I can't know everything. So we have people that just do Facebook ads. That's all they do. That's their specialty. Just do Google ads, just do SEO, just do content writing, just do Google business profiles, and so forth. I'm not going to go in. And so when I talk, I'm not talking out of a textbook as some professors and things do. I'm talking from experience, from years of experience working with remodelers and making their companies grow with our marketing experience. Okay, so let's get down into the meat of it. Why Facebook ads still work to begin with? Well, first of all, this is where homeowners are spending their time, right? There's 2.9 billion monthly users between Facebook and Instagram, right? And the age group, as we're going to talk about later, targeting, the age group that we're targeting tends to be more on Facebook and Instagram than some of the other platforms. I did a whole masterclass on which platforms you should be focusing on with social media and how to focus on them. So again, at the end, look in the YouTube channel and you can watch that as well. 78% of local service buyers research contractors on social media before they are making any calls. So they are looking. Remodelers who use Facebook ads, and I've seen a couple of these. If you're using Facebook ad campaigns, I've seen them go as high as 4 to 5 times, but I use the lower one to be conservative, 2 to 3 times more qualified leads compared to just relying on referrals. The Facebook ads, generally, they can produce leads for somewhere to $15 to $80. Higher quality leads that where you're gonna do landing pages and so forth, maybe up to closer to $200. It can really matter where your location is and what your service is. But also we have, comparing that to a lot of traditional direct mail and billboards and stuff. And even your websites and Google Ads could be well over 200 plus in the remodeling industry. So Facebook is still one of the most cost-efficient ways to get measurable leads. One of the questions you always get asked, so I want to get it right away, almost always when I sit down and we're talking to remodelers, is Google versus Facebook, both, either, where should we go? Now, one of the things we always say is get a good base, have a great website, have great ranking Google business profile, and be using some social media. Okay. Now we're getting to that next layer where we're going to use ads. So what is the difference here? Well, when you look at Google Ads, it's kind of like the Yellow Pages. Somebody needs something, they're going to go back and look, right? So they're actually actively searching for a bathroom remodeler in my city, right? Something like that. They have higher intent. So they're the closer to the buying, right? They're further down that funnel, they're closer to buying. But they are much more expensive than Facebook because we go back there. They also work for urgent projects, like we want to get this quickly, or we're really looking to get that keyword. So it's more keyword driven. So we're looking for that keyword bathroom remodel near me, right? And Google Ads versus Facebook. Okay, now generally, Facebook, people are just browsing, and all of a sudden, maybe a bathroom remodel ad pops up. Now they may or may not be thinking about that, or what you put in your video or your picture may just, wow, that's really nice, capture their attention. But they're not really looking, they have lower intent. Now there is a caveat to this. We'll talk about retargeting. So we now may have been, if we're using retargeting, someone may have already watched some of your social media posts. Someone may have already gone to your website and your Google business profile. And now we're retargeting them with that ad. So we know that they're out looking at, let's say, bathroom remodeling. And so now we're retargeting. Now those they're going to be much more closer to the buying aspect. But Facebook's ads in general, unless you're retargeting, which we'll talk about, someone's just browsing through, kind of breaking, if you catch their attention, you're, breaking their concentration, but they may further go into that and say, I have been thinking about that. They're typically lower cost. They work best for inspirational, building trust, before and after pictures. And instead of being keyword driven, they're more audience driven. So we're going to focus on targeting the location, the age, the interest, the behaviors of these people. Okay. So it's a little bit different. We can talk about each situation. Always, is on our website at the end here, there's a place to make a strategy call with me. We could spend an hour talking whatever you want to talk about, and we will actually do research on your presence on the internet, Facebook ads, Google ads, website, everything, before we meet with you. So we'll have suggestions, and we will hear your issues, and we'll give you some suggestions. No one's ever walked away and said they didn't get something from it, honestly. So if you want to talk, no cost, no obligation. If you decide to work with us, great. If not, great too. But I know you'll go away having learned something, as you will here. Okay. So one of the biggest mistakes often made by Facebook ads, and we're going to talk about all of these more in depth. One is boosting versus running ads. We're going to just look at a whole slide talking just about that now in a second. So that can be a mistake. Best if used together, but we'll talk about that. No clear goals. I have a whole slide on goals. Lots of times people just go and they put, oh, I should have a goal of awareness. Well, really, they want leads. Or I have a goal of traffic because I want more people to come to my website. But really, you want leads. So we're going to talk about that. Targeting too broad or too narrow. This happens a lot. So I'll have somebody say they want to do the whole state of Texas, something like that, or they want to do all of New England. I'm like, well, do you really cover all of that to begin with? Is that really what you're covering? Or are you really going to drive? What I hear from most remodelers, unless they have more than one location, they're generally going in a 30-mile radius. And unless it's a very rural spot, they might go further. Or if it's a very densely populated, they might go less. Okay, so you want to get that target. Or I've also had people that want to target like one or two towns in like rural Kentucky that had 5,000, 10,000 people in a whole town. Well, that's not going to be a very good, we're going to be a target that's too narrow. It's going to be too expensive and not reach enough people. So again, you want to make sure that we're going to talk a little bit more about targeting, but you want to make sure you're targeting in your service area and that it's not too small or not too big. And then not using a tracking system to know where those leads came from, or automations to follow up. Which we're going to talk about all of these. Okay, so let's hit first one, boosting posts versus running ads. Okay, so A lot of people say, oh, I should just boost the post, because when you're in your Facebook, you're back in your business suite and it's saying, oh, boost ads here, boost. It's so easy. You push the button and you boost the ads, right? It's very easy to do. That's one of the biggest benefits of running boost posts. However, I kind of highlighted this line here. Facebook ads for remodelers help generate consultations because they're going to generate leads. So they're going to get you in to have a consultation. While boosting Facebook posts builds engagement and awareness, right? Well, that's the objective here, right? So when we're running ads, we're looking, and that should be probably one of your main objectives here, leads, conversion, websites, visits, versus just awareness. Now, there's a place for awareness, and we'll talk about using these together. We've got awareness, we've got people following our boosted posts. We retarget them with our Facebook ads that cost more. Okay. The biggest thing here is targeting, probably out of all of it. The objective is very different too, but you can get very specific in your targeting with Facebook ads. The location, the income, are they homeowners versus renters, their interests, and then we can, of course, do retargeting. When you're doing boosted posts, it's really your followers, the friends of your followers, and you can do some broad area, but you can't get very specific. You're not really zoning in, and you can't retarget. Cost efficiency, it's much cheaper to do, but you don't have a good measurable ROI because you're generally not getting leads. There's no click the call. There's no call to action here. You're just boosting a post. Here, you're going to have an optimized return on your investment and lower lead costs. The analytics that you're going to get, all of the measuring reporting is going to be very detailed. In Facebook ads, you're just going to get the basic, like likes, shares, comments on the boosted posts. And again, what is the best use of it? If you want to generate leads and consultations, going out and making consultations with people, Facebook ads are better. If you're looking to build awareness and show social proof, boosted posts are better. So what we generally do, if you even follow us on Remodelers Marketing Crew, you'll see we do a lot of posts, we do a lot of reels. Then we analyze those posts and those reels. What's getting the most traffic? What's getting the most likes? What's getting the most shares? Those we're going to boost. Right, so not going to spend too much money, we're going to boost them. Then we're going to go and retarget. Who watched the boost post? Who went watch the other posts? Who went to our website? Who went to our Google Business Profile? And we're going to run Facebook ads to them. Right. So you can use them together as well. So again, quick tip, use ads when you need qualified leads, use boosting when you're really just looking to increase your visibility, which is important as well. So for example, you could use something that says, hey, remodeler, I got before and after photo and I got 100 likes, but I got no phone calls. So yeah, I only spent 200 versus 1,500 versus when they run ads, but they got 10 booked appointments, right? If you've got 10 booked appointments, hopefully at least 2 of those are going to be large projects for you. So maybe this costs 1,500 and that only costs 200 or 300. However, this got you no phone calls and this got you 10 booked calls. Okay, best practices for Facebook marketing with remodeling companies. Define your goal first. We're going to talk more about goals in a minute because that is one of the biggest mistakes people don't make. So what is your goal? In most cases, it is to generate leads, but sometimes it is to increase engagement or awareness. That's fine, but you want to be sure of what it is. And we'll talk more details about what those objectives and goals are. Segment by project type. Now, this is the same for Google ads as Facebook ads. You don't generally, there's always exceptions, but generally you do not want to run an ad for just all types of remodeling. We do basement, kitchen, right? You're confusing it. We want to run an ad that's just talking about basement remodels, just talking about bathroom remodels, just talking about kitchen remodels. And you want to target towards those homeowners, okay, instead of lumping it all in one campaign. Then high visuals, right? Before and after pictures are great. You want to stay away from stock pictures. They don't have to be perfect. You don't want them to look like a stock picture. You want them to look like your own work. The before and after, again, I say this in every masterclass, make sure they're from the same angle so that you can see what it was before and after. And especially in the after picture, make sure there's no like laying around paper towels or rags or things like that. Clean it up, especially in the after pictures. Videos, short walkthrough videos are terrific, and we'll talk about examples of those. Those are really what's going to catch somebody's eye, because remember, they're scrolling through Facebook. We need to catch their eye. Testing. We want to use multiple creatives. It's very easy to test in Facebook. And we'll talk a little bit more about that, but you want to do multiple creatives. So you might run maybe something with 2 headlines: upgrade your kitchen this summer versus book your dream kitchen remodel today. See which one does better. Or you might run the same headline with 2 different pictures. Or you might run it and change the color of the headline. And you're going to see each time which one does it better, go with that one, throw out the old one. So it's very easy and important to test your creatives in Facebook. And then we talked about this. Combining your ads with your boosting is the best, because you're getting that visibility. People are looking, and we target those through the Facebook ads. Okay. So awareness, then we come back to this, the goals or the objectives. These are generally the ones you can choose from. Okay, so awareness, now we're just like brand new, we're just kind of get people to know our brand. Okay, engagement, now we're looking to get people to do likes and comments, and especially if they share, that's showing really trust, because you don't share something unless you trust somebody. So it boosts credibility, but it's still not getting you leads, right? There's no call to actions in here. This is the most common here, the leads with a Facebook lead form. Okay, the quality can be mixed. So one thing with the Facebook lead form is that they don't leave Facebook. So Facebook likes it too. So staying on Facebook, and it's very easy. It usually just fills in their information. Sometimes people, though, hit that, they don't really mean to, they're just not getting that involved. They're like, oh, maybe I want it. They forget about it, which is why we want to get back to them quickly, which we'll talk about again. But those are usually what we say to start with, those lead forms. Then the conversions, now we're looking for getting more serious leads. And we're talking about landing pages, and maybe even driving to your website, or even better, a separate landing page that meets the objective of your ad. So we're going to talk a little bit and show you some examples of those. I would start with the leads, more than likely. The traffic is going to get you some clicks, but not the buyers. So again, that's probably not your best place. So choosing the wrong objective is often why people fail. Like they choose right at the top, when you're going to choose in your ads manager, what you're going to do, you choose awareness or engagement, and you expect leads. Like, well, that's probably not going to happen, right? Or you choose leads and you get awareness, but most people are not upset about that. You choose traffic. This is the one that probably throws people the most, as they think, I want more traffic, that's what I want. But really what you want is not just traffic, you want leads, right? So thousands of likes aren't as important as 10 to 20 qualified leads. So we would all agree. So let's go to this introduction of Facebook Ads Manager. We're going to have the ad campaign overall, like a master. Here we'd have this, for say, this masterclass for social media. We're going to have an ad set. Here are the winning creatives that we used, and here's the ads themselves. Okay. So the ads manager, this is just kind of a quick picture of it here, but that's your control center. Okay. So this is when you're going to set up your ads. Choose your objectives, your goals that you're going to use, the right objectives that we talked about before, do your A/B testing, see which creatives are working best, and it gives you all of the data. Right here we're having the cost per impressions, the click links, the cost per click link, click-through rate, and so forth. All of your data is going to be here that you can get on for the Facebook ads. Right? And again, we mentioned this multiple times. You're best off when you're first starting, start with the lead ad form. It's easier, and homeowners end up staying in Facebook, which again, Facebook likes. So this goes back and forth. As I told you, I go to many different webinars, seminars, master classes that I'm trying to learn at. And I see this argued back and forth. Lead form versus landing page, lead versus landing page. I have even hired different people that feel a different way about this, and some so strongly. We use both. So I use both for myself and with our clients. So see what's best. But if you're trying it on your own, I guess is my point here. If you are trying it on your own, then I would start with the lead form. Okay. Here, here's where he's going to give you the deeper dive. Here's where you're going to be choosing your audience. So that's very important. You want to choose by location. You can even dig down into zip codes if you don't want. If it's very large and you don't want to do a whole, like a huge city, even if like maybe it's Chicago, you could even go into zip codes and not do the entire area of Chicago or Houston or something like that. Or you might want to do multiple towns with zip codes in there. Then you want to get their behavior, so age. Most of the time we'll say, 30 to 60, but a lot of times I'm finding more and more remodelers tell me it's more into the 70s now. People are living longer. They have the house to themselves. It's empty nesters, and they want to change up a lot of the renovations with the house remodels. Behavior, are they watching home TV, HTV TV, things like that. We don't want renters, right? We want homeowners. But we can even get down to, are they recently married? Are they looking to expand, right? Those are the things we're going to look at. And we already mentioned traffic. And I'm going to mention the advantage option on the next page. So let's go there. So some little tricks that you could use to make it a little bit easier on yourself. Again, I would only do this mainly if you're a beginner and you're doing it on yourself. So there's something called the Advantage Plus campaign. Here, all you have to give Facebook is your creatives, your objective, and your budget. Then they basically make ads for you, test ads for you, and decide who they should go after to look at those ads for you. So they do all of it. If anyone's ever done, it's kind of similar to smart ads in the Google ads. We have not used Advantage Plus. We have tried smart ads and Google ads with not a lot of success. Once you become really good at it and you're a professional, we've had some success, but once you really know what you're doing, you're probably not going to want to use the Advantage Plus because you're going to want more control. And the other different layer of it is the dynamic creative. Here you have to give Facebook 3 to 5 headlines, some images or creatives or videos, whatever that may be, your creatives, and call to actions. Then you're going to tell them also who to target. So Facebook is going to take your headlines, your images, and your call to actions. They're going to auto combine them and find the best performer. So you're giving up a little bit of your control, but not all of it. So it's another level down to do it. But again, I've had people say, oh, the dynamic creative didn't work. And I would look at it and go like, oh, those headlines weren't really great, and the image or the images weren't great. So Facebook can only work in this case with what you give them. So maybe not write them off right away, but maybe try different images and different headlines and see if that helps at all. Okay. Retargeting is gold. We've talked about that. So we're going to talk about what you have to do to retarget, but these are people, right? You're now sending an ad to people who have already visited your website, watched your videos, interacted with your page, gone to your Google business profile. So it's automatically going to be lower cost leads and higher quality leads. Captions on videos. 80% of Facebook users, and I bet it's even more, watch without sound, right? Because we're somewhere else. We're in the doctor's office, we're in the grocery store waiting in line, or laying on there, we're watching TV with someone else in there watching the TV too. We're watching, and we're kind of watching the Facebook ads as well. So always add text so people can read along if they don't have their sound on. So important. And don't forget to use service specific keywords in your ad copy. So you don't want to just say book a consultation, say bathroom remodel consult in Boise. That's what you want, in XYZ city, wherever you may be. So, and change up your call to actions. We change up the call to actions. It's easy with AI. Show them some stuff you have on your website, tell AI to look it over, say, hey, do you think there's any call to actions that we should change? And A/B test them, right? And again, we've already talked about these. Again, start with the lead forms. They're easier, keeps them on Facebook, and use these especially before you're going to use the traffic conversion ads. So know your numbers. We're going to go more deeper into this, but just talking a little bit about it. Think about it. If you had even a smaller job for remodelers, would be a 20K job, right? If you had a 30% profit margin, that'd be $6,000 profit. So if you had to pay $100 for a lead, right, that's 60 times your investment. You paid $100 and you made $6,000 in profit. I'm talking on profit, and we'll do a little bit more with numbers, but yeah, it's pretty good if that converts. Also, we're going to talk about what numbers to look at, but you don't want to just stop at cost per lead. Okay, so we track, I'll get to that slide and I'll tell you how the ones that we track, and also make sure that they're really tied to customer needs. So maybe you're in the end of Thanksgiving, end of Halloween, beginning of November, right? Tends to be November, December, slowest times for remodelers. People don't want you in their house, they're getting ready for the holidays and so forth. But if you have a special, maybe someone's traveling, you have a special, you can offer them guest-ready bathrooms ready for the holidays. And believe me, a lot of people worry about their bathrooms before the holidays, or when it's very cold out, energy or very hot, energy efficient window replacement special. So things like that, you want to maximize that return on your investment. So the targeting, again, you don't want renters, you want to get homeowners. Ages, gender, I find, I've talked to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of remodelers. Gender doesn't seem to be that big an issue. one way or the other. Sometimes it's both, sometimes it's one. So we don't usually focus on that. I generally tend to be more 35 to 70 in most of ours. Because a lot of people that are older are staying in their homes for a while and they want to, they might be looking for accessibility, or they might be just looking to change the kids' bedrooms into guest rooms and changing rooms into offices or exercise rooms. Their interests, right? Are they watching home improvement TV? Are they, if they've been looking up kitchen design? Lookalike audiences, the one thing I'll caution you about lookalike audiences, you need a long list. So with lookalike audiences, you're going to feed in like your old client lists, and they're going to say, oh, and you need to feed in their phone number and their email, and they try to match them and say, well, this is what these people like. So therefore, we assume we're going to find other people that like that, and they're going to want to do ads with you. But, excuse me, not ads with you. They're going to want to do remodeling projects with you. However, that's not always the case. And you really need a large client list to do that, especially in a local area. But it is possible to do, and it can work. Retargeting, okay, we've talked a lot about that. I'm not going to go into that. And you want to layer this. Don't do just one. Don't say, okay, we targeted just homeowners. No, talk about age, homeowners, age, interests, retargeting, put all of these together to get your best results. So winning creatives, what kind of creatives? When we say creatives, that's pictures, images, all the types of things are going to get people to stop scrolling, right? So real images, real pictures, stock photos, we don't want. And before and afters tend to work the best. We've got a clear picture here of what it was and after. Sliders, those can really look best. Here's like a before and after in here. But what if we had like a slider where you go across? Or what's next down here, a 30-second video. Still stuck in that outdated kitchen, here's a solution, okay? Or testimonials. We're going to show you some examples of what we would suggest for ads. Testimonials are your team in action. Those are great. Here's a person saying, we've done a great job for them. We use testimonial Facebook ads all the time, and we're working on creating more right now. And then your team in action. Here's where we started, the before, beginning, after videos, and just put it in a time lapse. Carousels. So here we've just got pictures that we're sliding through. Here's the next step, here's the next step. Work really well for multiple projects. So other key things you want is you need a hook, right? So you've got to have that hook. What's going to draw them in besides the picture or the video? Ready for your bathroom remodel? You'll love this winter. Tired of that outdated bathroom? It's something that kind of grabbed them because they're seeing maybe you're doing that with this old bathroom. And now we have the promise of the benefit. We design and build stunning bathrooms to fit your lifestyle. You've got a picture there, right? Then we have to have an offer. Book a free consultation this month only. We try to get them to do it sooner. Oh, they're only giving free consultations this month? Probably you're not, but they may act. And then have to have a call to action. Tap to schedule below. Okay. So we're trying to gather their information. And other, return on your investment boosters, create campaigns tied to the real homeowner's needs, right? Guest ready bathroom, we talked about before for the holidays, right? That's going to get somebody. Oh, that's right. Having these people over for the holidays and my bathroom's still awful. I wish I could get it fixed up. Things like that. And make sure you put your author in both the image and the caption. Okay. So what should we measure, right? Because if you can't measure, you can't improve. Right? Well, I'm always saying this constantly to my team, right? We're doing that. Okay, are we measuring it? Right? We're just optimizing some of our YouTube videos. I'm like, okay, are we measuring it? Well, no. Okay, we got to measure it, right? If we're spending all this time optimizing our YouTube videos right now, well, we want to make sure that spending that time is working. Are we going to get more people going to our YouTube videos and so forth? So these are real key things. I would kind of look at the conversion rate first, right? Who clicks, and then how many becomes a lead, right? So we've got people that click on the ad, then how many leads? So what's the click-through rate? Did they become a lead? Then, what was that cost for that lead? And then did they actually make an appointment? So I said I would come back to this. So what we generally track is the number of leads that we're going to track the cost to, but then the number of leads that came in and by what did they come in? Was it a Facebook ad? Was it an ad? Did somebody come in because they were signed up for this webinar? Did somebody come from our website? Did somebody come from our social media? Did somebody come from our Facebook? I think I mentioned our Facebook ads. Did someone come as a referral? So again, you should have like 7 ways that you may get leads. And then the next thing would be, how many appointments did we get from those leads, right? And we usually end up having 2 appointments before we close. My guess is that you guys may have at least that too, right? For most people I talk to, you're going to go out, you're going to see it, then you're going to come back and give them the estimate, similar to what we do. So how many estimates did we deliver to someone, proposals, and then how many clients? And the reason you want to track it that way is because what you'll see, you want to find out the leading indicators of what might be going wrong. Because if leads are down, then the following week, you'll see the first appointments go down. The following week, you'll see that new estimates go down. And the following week, you'll see your new projects go down. So it's a leading indicator. It's saying, whoop, we're in trouble, because that's got to feed everything else. Where if your leads are coming in strong, then probably the next month, you're going to have that many more appointments. And the next month, you're going to have the estimates. And the next month, you're going to have the projects. So very important to track and keep track. This is just for Facebook. You want to keep track on where your leads are coming in from all of your marketing efforts. You don't need to completely ignore likes and shares, but they're not really going to get you booking. But if you are really focusing on getting awareness, you do want to look at these things, and there's tools that will measure these for you too. But if you, just like I said for our YouTube channel, right, we want to now look at it because we're spending money and we're spending time on making improvements to that. So we want to see, is that worth it or not? So if you are trying to build awareness and engagement, you do want to look at these. And again, you always want to compare. We're going to look at these numbers, your cost per lead against the average project cost, so that you can know what your real true return on investment is, which we're going to do in a second. Okay, let's talk first about tracking. So inside your ads manager, because I just talked about all these numbers, where we're going to get them. So inside your ad manager, you're going to find things like cost per result, click-through rate, frequency, cost per lead, number of leads, all of that's going to be there. The Facebook pixel is crucial because that's going to be this little piece of code that's on your website that's going to tell Facebook what's happening when someone clicks, or when they come to that website, what's happening there. Did they go to the contact page? Did they submit a form? So very important. The other thing is the UTM links. This you'll see in your Google Analytics, which will tell you what's going on, what drove the ad there, what drove that lead from the ad. So important to fill these out. Then third-party tools that can help you. We use CallRail with different phone numbers. So we'll have different phone number that's on different ads. We might have an ad campaign for bathrooms and for kitchens. It might have different tracking numbers, and the website's going to have different tracking number. Because we want to be able to track, we're spending this money on a website, we're spending this money on Facebook ads. What's it getting us back? Right? So that's really important. And the dashboards here also will give you a clean view. So we use Looker Studio, we use a bunch of others. We used Agency Analytics in the past, but you want to know the results of everything. So it'll pull in your Facebook ad results, your Google ad results, your website, your Google business profile, your social media will all be pulled in there. Go high level. We're going to talk a lot more about automations. So this is huge. Now, we happen to use the tool Go High Level. You could use HubSpot, you could use Salesforce. There's other automation services you could use, but it automates your follow-up. Did you miss a call? Did somebody just fill out a Facebook form? Go High Level is going to get back to them instantly. So what happens with us, as soon as that Facebook form is filled in, it's going to say, are you interested? We see that you're looking for improving your results and your marketing campaign. Then right away, because when you send that first text message out, there's got to be by law a little thing that says you can opt out. So within seconds later, we say, are you interested in bathroom, kitchen remodels, or both? So we've kind of got them off that idea of opting out, and now we're asking them a question to try to get engagement. Okay, and we're going to, hopefully the next fastest thing is that automation now is shooting something to my salespeople that are saying, hey, Facebook lead just came in. Because I know if you call that person within 5 minutes, your results are going to be, I think around here somewhere it says 21 times better. And I don't know if it's 21 times, that's statistics that I got from someone else, but I know for a fact it's 100 times better, I would say, than waiting even an hour getting back. So that's another thing the automation does, is let your team know. And you're going to follow up with that person, and we're going to follow that sequence. And it's going to do everything. Once they set the appointment, we're going to set them with a reminder. Here's a reminder of your appointment. Your appointment's in 1 day, your appointment's in 1 hour. And we can, and now we have a better chance of them showing up because of that. So again, do a whole masterclass on automations, but it is huge. It is where lots of people spend all of this money on Facebook ads, and then they don't follow up with the leads, and they say the Facebook ads didn't work, but you're getting a lot of leads, you need to follow up. And the key down here, right, is speed really matters. You need to follow up with them within minutes. Not if it's 2 a.m., right? I don't follow up with people at 2 a.m., mainly because I'm not awake, but occasionally I've seen something come in. I still don't follow up. But during their normal working hours, you want to follow up with them. Or if it was in the middle of the night, first thing in the morning, or during the day sometime. So the budget. Usually the starter budget is somewhere between $20 and $50 a day is the average if you're looking to get lead generation. The average remodeling, again, as I said, is somewhere generally between 50 and 150, and that depends so much because you're like, wow, that one is 3 times the price of the other, and it is, but it can depend on the service for one thing, and the location, because both depend on the competition. So if you're in a larger city, there's a lot of competition, you're going to have to spend more. A basic rule of thumb is once you get that idea of how much the lead costs. So say you've been doing it a while, you're like, okay, my leads cost about $50 a piece, and you want to get 10 leads a month because you feel like with 10 leads, you can close 3 projects a month. Then you know, okay, I need 10 leads, $50 a month. So I'm going to do a minimum of $500 that month. Okay. Now, what about the testing? So you want to test, and again, I hear debate after debate, at least 7 days, I would say. A lot of people say 5 to 7. A lot of people say 7 to 10. So I'd say at least 7 to see if you're going to get results. And don't panic at day one. Oh my gosh, I just spent $20 today and I got nothing, right? You need to have that learning phase in Facebook. So you're trying to get like 50 conversions in there to say, hey, is this getting seen? Are they converting? And are they clicking? Are they turning into leads? Okay. And because of all this time, right? Because now we're talking 7 to 10, now we're going to change something to see if we can get it better. It's generally better to start running like at least 3 ads at once. And you can do it by, I've seen this argued too, target different audiences and then choose which audience is best. So I'm going to choose maybe a little lower age group and a little different areas here. And let's do the 3 areas, which comes better. That can work. You can also do it by same audience, but changing different things on the ads. So did I improve the ads better? So lots of different ways to test this. The other reason what I didn't want to forget, it was almost the end of my, I went over this whole talk that I was going to give. I was like, oh my gosh, what about ad fatigue? So I went, don't forget ad fatigue. And this happens a lot. We'll be running these Facebook ads and we're getting 20, 30, 40 leads a month. And all of a sudden the next month we get like 10 and then 0. It's like, what happened? What happened? It becomes, you get ad fatigue. People see the ad over and over and they're not paying attention to it anymore. So lots of times you have to do that, is you need to change it up. And usually it's around, it depends, but somewhere at least usually around 30 days or something. But when you see the leads, if you're getting really good results from your ads and you see them start to dip off, start looking at a new ad campaign pretty quickly, because you don't want to remember we talked about that leading indicator, you don't want to let those leads go down. The other thing that's key and most people don't realize is once you found a winner, it's like, okay, this is the one. We're going to go with this for a while. Don't just double, triple it. This is what people do. Like, oh, I'm spending $500 on this. This is really doing great. I'm going to spend $1,500 on it. You don't want to go that way. It doesn't work that way with Facebook. You want to increase it like 20 to 30% maybe every week, but don't just double it overnight. Okay, so if you're spending 500 into 650 the next week, maybe 750, 800 the next week. So as you grow with it slowly, a real key, very important. So knowing your numbers. So you're gonna have to look around, get idea. What's your cost per lead for your Facebook? And this again, something you should also be tracking. What's your close rate on Facebook leads? Because your close rate's gonna be, I would hope, 80 or 90% on a referral, but it might only be 25% on a Facebook lead, right? And even Google ads leads may be a little bit higher because they're usually a little bit higher quality of that lead. So what is your percentage of closing leads for Facebook? That type of a lead. So say it's 25%. That means you're going to need 4 leads to close 1 project. Okay? And each of those Facebook leads on average costs you $50. So your total cost is $200 to get 1 project, okay, from Facebook. Now on the other side, right, that's a cost. Well, what is that going to bring you in? Well, if your average project, your average revenue for a project, say is $30,000, and say your average profit margin is 25, then your profit per project is 7,500. So if we divide that $200 of cost into that profit of 7,500, that's 37.5. 37.5 times your money, return on your investment. You invested 200 and you got back 7,500, right? Now, a lot of marketers will divide that 200 into 30,000, but that's not the return on your investment, because your investment, return on your investment, because you didn't get that return, right? That was your revenue. You had to spend all that money. So I always do it on profit. But still, that's 37.5. Another way that a lot of remodeler and contractors like to look at it is the percentage cost. So if it costs me $200 to get 30,000 in revenue, that's not even 1%. So the question is, can you price 1% of your ads into your price? I kind of think so, right? Do you think if you had a $30,000 project that you're proposing to someone, but instead you proposed 30,200, they would turn it down? Probably not. Right? This is such a small part that you'd be adding it into that. So that's another way that you can do it, is price your marketing into the projects. Okay, the key thing is knowing your numbers. Automations, again, I can't emphasize how important automations are. The lead instant receives, as I explained before, instantly receives. Thanks for reaching out. We want to schedule a consultation. So usually we do that. Hey, are you interested? You might do, are you interested in a full bath remodel or a half bath remodel? Right? So they might answer back, oh, we actually have 2 full baths. Great. Let's schedule a consultation. So we're also going to send that email and that text to schedule a consultation. We're going to also use phone calls, because honestly, most of them don't actually schedule on with just a link, but some do, especially if it's somebody who's already heard of us somewhere else. Gets back to those missed calls and text backs. 30% of remodelers are working their calls are during working hours, and they don't receive voicemails. So automations can recover those. We're working right now. We're really far. We're just introducing our first clients to AI answering of phone calls too, which is going to be really key. But I'm very much of a stickler. We need to train that AI well, and it's working. You can also have this nurturing sequence. So once you set these up, so we just talked about, we closed 1 out of 4. What about those other 3? Well, maybe they just weren't ready. Maybe they're really serious, but they're not ready for 6 months, or, lots of other reasons they may not be there right then. Maybe they're going to try somebody else that doesn't work out. They're going to come back and look. So what we put them in is a nurturing sequence, where once a month, most of our remodelers we write blogs for, but once a month, we're writing to them, hey, did you read about our latest blog here? And we're driving them back to our website too with the blog. We're driving it to social media. And then we also, if we had some specials, we're going to send out an email or a text on that as well. So number 1, lead to speed, right? That's a number 1 success factor. Speed, responded under 5 minutes. And here's what it is. You're 21 times more closer to the call. So not sure I have to look that up, who did the 21 times, but I know for a fact that it is. Here's just a couple quick examples. These are with pictures, and these 2 are with videos. So the idea here is the before and after. So you're showing this not very great kitchen on the other side and a beautiful one on the right. And it's saying updated for outstanding, transform your kitchen today. And we've got some copy. Tired of cooking in the space that doesn't feel like the past, right? Blah, blah, blah. Schedule your free consultation. So this works because they can instantly see the difference. And they're like, can relate. We might want to change this up a couple times, try out different ones. Is cooking in the kitchen relate, or entertaining in your kitchen, whatever that may be, and try to get that. Here, we're trying to get a limited promotion. So eye-catching, beautiful picture of a kitchen, $500 off the remodel, right? Fall special. So thinking about remodeling, fall's the perfect time. Why not take our special? Spots are limited, right? So trying to get them to do that. The video client testimonials, I just can't say enough of how they do. You've got real social proof here. So puts again a 30-second of one, or you could have 2 or 3, and each one talks 10 or 15 seconds on there. And then say, this is why we can trust your company, call and book us now. Just seeing real people talking about how great work you've done. And then reels work well, catch people. Wow, Here's a time elapsed of a kitchen that was, awfully outdated, and then we come through and you're seeing the beautiful picture of it. Dreaming of a new kitchen, see how we transform that. And I'll always have all of these call to action: book now, get a quote, claim offer, learn more, right? So these are examples of ideas to get you to set up your ads. I'm going to give you an example here of what I would call is probably a rather complicated, let me get out of the exit here for a minute. It's more of a complicated, because it's a quiz. This probably took us a month to get this involved. So it's not a Facebook form. It's going to go to a landing page. It's going to do a quiz. It's going to analyze this quiz, give them the results, and do follow-ups. So I figured I could show you guys normal, everyday Facebook ads, but I wanted to show you something that's a little more advanced. So let me just go up here. Okay, so this is where they would come from the Facebook page. So we get out Facebook Creative that's talking about bathroom remodeling, and you want to take the quiz. Then they land here. So they are coming off of Facebook. And they're talking, does Facebook remodel? And we've tried a bunch of these, but Facebook remodel feel like a gamble? How to eliminate the risk, right? So we found that so many people are they're nervous. They have anxiety. They're worried the contractor is going to take advantage of them. It's going to go way over budget, all of these things. So we're appealing to that here. We could start the quiz now, but maybe they're not ready. Well, they're not ready to remodel. Who is this for? What's this quiz going to tell me? I'm telling them who's for, what you'll learn. What's this quiz going to tell me? Why am I going to spend my time on it? Who is this company that's running it? Here's the people. Here's their prices. Telling some more things about the quiz is going to help you make these decisions quicker. And then you're going to get some social proof. There's some testimonials. I tend to like videos here too, but I've got that. Here's more what people saying. You can start the quiz here. They're still not convinced, right? It's going to take you less than 2 minutes. It's quick. It's simple. Does it cost anything? No, it's free. What am I doing? So it's telling you all of this information. So then, well, hopefully we're getting them. We know they've clicked through, but now let's say, okay, let's take the quiz. So now they're saying, okay, I'm going to start. Right? And they're going to ask them simple questions. Oh, this is the primary owners. Let's go high end. Primary owners business suite, bathroom suite. Let's go with all the luxury. Okay. Let's say we're going to be in the home for a while, but not forever. Let's say we want a nice shower, we want a freestanding tub, and we want to get rid of we want updated design. We're not worried as much about safety and identity because it says choose up to 3. This is trying to get how involved do you want to be. I want guidance. I want to collaborate. I already have a vision. I'm overwhelmed, getting some idea of their feelings. So imagine all of this information when you make that first phone call, or they've already booked the consultation with you. But it's a great information to know. What's your goal? When's you going to get started? Okay. Have you ever worked with a remodeling firm before? Yes, it was great. Oh, yeah, it wasn't great. No, but I'm ready to start. I'm just in the exploring stage. Right? You're going to find out where they are. But this is such great information to have before you make that first call. What concerns you most about remodeling? Okay, you can choose more than one. I just put in here going over budget. What's your expected investment? So this will tell you too, right? If somebody clicked on all the high, I want the best bathroom, I want all the luxury features, blah, 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 but I want it under 25,000, right? Now okay, they're probably not going to be our best candidate. Maybe worth a phone call, but not going out to a visit unless they have a more idea on pricing. Where you're located, you give them a zip code, and then now we're going for the phone number and the first name, and then we're going to send them the results for the quiz. Now, how this works here, we now have automations that work out. So this is kind of detailed, but it'll give you like, if they answered the quiz in all of these ways to these questions, they would be looking for a luxury bathroom, and they probably don't have any issues with their contractor and so forth. And so we're going to hopefully book them a call. Meeting scheduled, we're going to have to call and follow from there. It's not scheduled. We're going to have a specific nurturing follow-up that has to do with luxury bathrooms that someone didn't have an issue with their contractor, right? And then we're going to try to book again, and then we're going to keep in that nurturing sequence. But all of them are specifically related to how they answered the quiz. Here it's how they answered the quiz on a fresh facelift, the guest or kids bathroom. Here it's the design is right for you. So we're trying to give them an education. They're not really sure on anything. Here they're looking about safety and style more. Here they're looking about, they've had nightmares with contractors before. So we're going to deal with that, right? Planning, but still in low commitment stage in here. So that, go back into here. Don't go back to the beginning. Good. Here's the slide. The other thing you can do, so those are just give you some ideas of where those came from, is look in the Facebook ads library. We're kind of short on time, so I'm not going to bring that up here, but just Google Facebook ads library, look up some companies and look at their ads that are running. And especially it'll tell you when the ad started running and what if it's still active today. The longer it's running, unless the people just aren't really using their heads and their brains, the longer it's running, then the better that ad probably is performing. And so you can get ideas from that. So that's really key too. Okay, so let's pull it all together and see if you have any questions. The first thing you want to do is pick the right objective for your campaign, right? So make sure you're good on that. Have a budget that's realistic, right? So make sure you have some money to put into this. Target real customers, the homeowners that are in your service area. Use creatives, pictures, images that tell a story, and make sure you use those captions to caption them. Track every lead with pixels, the UTMs, and use all the tools to track as well. And follow up with automation. Cannot emphasize that enough. So you want to, think of this, like these steps, and we talked a lot about it, but it really kind of boils down to these steps as your Facebook ads blueprint, and then follow these, and you will already be ahead of 90% of remodelers. And then some common mistakes, again, only boosting. You're probably not going, it's not impossible, but you're probably not going to get leads from only boosting. Choosing the wrong objective, targeting renters, or being too broad or too narrow, having no follow-up system, right? And then quitting after 5 days, it didn't work, right? You really need to give it 2 or 3 months. And you need to do a lot of, because you've got to do all that testing. So you really can't just say, I put in 5 days, it's over, I'm done. So Facebook ads do work, but you have to approach it with the right system. Okay. So we have a couple of things here for you. Now they're in ads do, see if it's working. So I have a question in here, but let me put this on, let me get back to that question and talk about these downloads. Then I'm going to get back to the question. So on the downloads, let me get out. When you click on here, where's my mouse not open? Okay, so I want to exit my full screen. I've already opened these. So when you click on the download, it's going to ask you to make a copy, and you make a copy here. And then it's yours to look at. And so this is going to go through basically understanding here. This one's going to be the difference between boosting and Facebook ad campaigns. So we went over it here, but here it gives it much more detail so that you can go through here. Okay. And then also there's the ultimate Facebook ads blueprint for remodelers, which goes through a lot of the overview of what we discussed here. Okay. And also down here at the bottom, so you see budget, automations, you'll see how here you can click to have a strategy session with us, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, follow us on any of these as well. And there is one other one that's it's only in the chat, but it's been very popular. And this will tell you how to basically get content with AI. And we have a whole, this was from a different masterclass that we did, but it tells you what is the information you need to feed in to AI. You need to train AI, give it all of this information, and then ask for social media captions, ask for blogs and post ideas, ask for client testimonials, lead magnets, ebooks. One thing, and you'll see if you do watch the masterclass on this, is even though you fed in all of this information, after I ask something like this, I always say, before you answer, ask me some qualifying questions. Because even after you put that all in, there's generally questions which you'd be surprised. You're like, wow, I never even thought about that. And you'll get better results from the AI for that. So those are 3 gifts from us to you. And then at the end here too is just more links to where you can catch us. But I do see a question in here. How long should I run an ad to know if it's working? So you definitely, if you're not getting any results in 7 to 10 days, any at all, it's not working. Get another one in. So you need to do that 7 to 10 days. And then you're going to do the A/B testing. So you've got 2 in there. You're getting results on both, but one's doing much better. You take that one, you might make a couple changes and do some A/B testing again. And so you may want to do this 4, 5, 6 times until you get one that's really getting you consistently, good leads in your price range. So if you're thinking, I'm happy with $50 and that's what that ad's getting you, that's great. Stick with that ad for a while and run it. How long? You're going to start to see the ad fatigue. Might be getting 20, 30 leads a month, and all of a sudden it goes down to 15 and then 10 the next month and then lower. So once you see that start dropping off, start looking to start doing that testing again, because you want to have a new ad ready before the other one completely drops off. I don't know if there was any other questions. I think that's it. And we're exactly 1 hour in. So again, I want to encourage you, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. It's Remodelers with an S, marketingcrew.com. Reach out there. There's a support center, there's phone lines. We have dedicated people to answer questions for you, and you can schedule a 1 hour meeting with me, and I will do the research on your company before so I'll spend an hour or so researching you, then I'll spend an hour with you, giving you as much feedback as I can. And if you decide that we're a good match, we can work together. If not, no big deal, and you'll have gained a lot of insight on your marketing and where you're heading. So I can guarantee you that. So thank you so much for spending this hour with me, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.